Hey everybody, my name is Diego.
And I'm Chelsea, and welcome to TwoFingerPour.
So today we have a martini edition. We're going to be going over classic martinis, vespers, and dirty martinis, and a little bit about the history about it.
So it's going to be really, really fun today. So go ahead, grab your shot with us. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, the thingy.
You have to hit the table. Oh my gosh.
Ready?
Yeah, ready to go.
Okay. So what we're going to go ahead and get started with is 1.5 of our London Dry Gin. So this martini recipe is a very classic recipe. I know we keep saying classic, 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 but it is very, very different sometimes from now when you order a martini, because this is also going to have 1.5 of dry vermouth. So it is equal parts of gin and dry vermouth, finishing that off with 2 dashes of orange bitters. The martini was really, really controversial as far as the history. It's very, very muddled what all that is. Some people say Jerry Thomas, the father of mixology, created that. Some people say it derived from the Martinez cocktail and a ton of Martinez from a miner. There's some really, really cool stories behind it. It's still kind of muddled as to what the truth is when you read up on that. Also, some people say it came from Martini and Rossi, from that brand of vermouth. It came from a bartender whose first name was Martini. So it keeps going and going and going, but we do know that this actually was the classic recipe. How we got there, still kind of hazy. So go ahead and finishing that off, we are gonna pour that cocktail up. And if I can stab these silly little olives.
She had one job. Just kidding.
And your garnish. So with that addition of an equal part of sweet vermouth, or excuse me, dry vermouth, it is going to taste slightly different from a traditional martini, which we're calling traditional now, what you typically get when you order it, where it is usually just a rinse of vermouth or something like that.
We do like doing rinses of vermouth. That's how I usually do them whenever I work at the bar I work at. But
so from a rinse of vermouth versus this, how do you like that?
You know, actually, I thought I liked the rinse better taste, but I think I might, taste-wise, I might like this better.
How come?
It kind of kills the flavor of like the gin. Like
kills the flavor
not
of the gin,
kills
right?
the flavor. It just kind of like it eases it. It eases the flavor.
Like softens?
Yeah, you know, she knows all the words. But yeah, it softens the flavor of the gin, so it's not just like gin straight up with like a little bit of vermouth. It's like it's more of like a cocktail, a gin cocktail rather than just gin.
Got it.
So
that's going to his point, using a London Dry Gin to that, if you do stick to this recipe and do an equal part of gin and dry vermouth, the London Dry Gin is really, really strong in juniper, so it will stand up to that vermouth. If you use a softer gin like Hendricks or something like that, you'll completely wash out the gin. So that's why we recommend a London Dry.
that juniper, man, it gets pretty rough. It tastes like you're eating a Christmas tree sometimes. That's why I think half and half, for me personally, is good.
Well, let me try. See how you did.
Let's see how I did.
Perfect martini.
Perfect martini.
You ready to move on?
Let's move on. What are we moving on to?
We are moving on to the Dirty Martini.
Dirty martini. All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's get dirty. That'll probably be cut out.
So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody how our setup has changed and what items we need to do the Dirty Martini.
So our setup is pretty much the same as the last martini, except we did have the addition of olive brine. So that's the only difference. Tools are the same. We still have the London Dry and we still have the dry vermouth.
Okay, cool. So to get started on your Dirty Martini, you're going to do 2.5 ounces of London Dry Gin. What's really, really cool about the Dirty Martini is it has a really cool history behind it that we'll get to in a second. And then you're going to add 0.5 ounces of olive brine.
I'm usually the one that messes up.
And then just a bar spoon of your dry vermouth. So what's really cool about the Dirty Martini, again, there are so many stories behind that particular martini as well, but just our personal favorite story was in 1945 when FDR was at the Yalta conference. He had a huge, huge, huge hangover. So some people said he was a little bit of a lush. And so what had happened was Stalin, he was telling Stalin that he had this wicked hangover. And then Stalin said, oh, well, you should have the cure of the dog. So the cure of the dog for him in Russia was actually vodka and pickle juice. But for breakfast, they did not have any vodka and pickle juice. Then Churchill pulled gin out.
Winston Churchill.
Pulled a little gin out, pulled a jar of olives, and that's how it was apparently born. One of the theories.
That is seriously like my favorite story of the whole Dirty Martini. There was quite a few other ones, but that was our favorite. We wanted to go with that one just because like Stalin, Churchill, FDR,
Has a lot of fun history
1945,
behind it.
end of World War II. Like, it's super, super cool story.
So this one is a little different. Again, a lot of people nowadays at bars just get their vodka, olive brine, gin, olive brine. Sometimes it's shaken. The reason why we did stir it and keep the addition of the dry vermouth is this is a classic dirty martini.
A lot of dirty martinis are, I mean, like she just said, shaken. That's how I've always made mine. I've never made a dirty martini stirred until today.
So see how you like it.
Let's see. It's really good. Actually, wow, that's really, really good.
How is that one different from a regular dirty martini that you have where it's literally just spirit and olive brine?
Well, it does have, I mean, obviously we have add the dry vermouth. I think that adds to it. But, and like I said, I always shake it so it always has the little shards of like,
Crystal?
of little, yeah, ice in it. So that's why I kind of like it shaken, just because you do get that little, I don't know, like texture. So what is the difference between shaking and stirring a martini?
So a lot of people tend to, just today, like their martinis shaken. You know, they ask for extra shaken, extra hard, they like the crystals on top. The difference between it, which is traditionally why it was stirred, is it's the level of dilution in the cocktail. And technically, if you shake it, you're bruising the cocktail.
Oh, I hate when people say that. Oh, so pretentious.
Just a geeky term, just a little geeky term there. But
cocktail.
it does change the level of dilution. So if you're sitting there shaking the hell out of it, you're going to dilute that a lot, and it's also going to open up the cocktail differently versus stirring it.
Well, I've literally had guests like tell me they want their martini shaken 20 times exactly with specific amount of ice, and like once it's 20, they're just like, all right, cut it off, and I'm just like, okay. And
Yeah. People are very particular about their martinis, but if you guys want to give it a shot at home and just do a traditional dirty martini, tell us what you think.
Did you try it?
I did.
Did you like it?
Oh, I love it. I think the balance is perfect on it.
I mean, I made it, so.
So, I mean, it's amazing how it came together. You ready to move on to the Vesper?
The Vesper,
Okay.
yes. Another cool history.
So, moving on to the Vesper cocktail, how has our setup changed?
Our setup has changed completely, actually. So we now have shaker tins. We still have our jigger. We went from an antique Hawthorne Strainer to a regular Hawthorne Strainer. We have our peeler, our lemon, and we still have our coupe glass, or as if you're watching, you can use a martini glass. And then our ingredients changed as well. We now have Hendricks Gin, Ketel One Vodka, and Lillet.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get started on this one. This one is a really, really great cocktail. If you are a fan of martinis, just give it a try. It is going to be gin heavy over vodka heavy. It's going to be 2 ounces of Hendricks Gin, and then 1 ounce of the Ketel One Vodka. Again, these are just brands that we recommend for this cocktail. Use whatever you want. And then 0.25 of Lillet Blanc. And we are going to shake this because it is done by James Bond, shaken not stirred. That's where this cocktail came from was the 1960s in the James Bond era, and this is actually what he drank. So we are going to express a little bit of lemon oil over the top of that. But this is one of the rare spirit-forward cocktails, meaning a cocktail all compromised with spirit, where spirit is the main flavor in that is going to be shaken. But it's also where the martini came from, or gained popularity to be shaken because of James Bond. Same thing with the vodka addition to vodka martinis now. We'll go ahead and express that. So have you ever tried a Vesper?
I've only had one.
And what do you think?
I wasn't a huge fan, honestly. But I mean, since I made this one and I am James Bond, I guess I'm...
You might not be a fan, even more.
I mean, it is really good since I made it.
What do you like about this one?
I actually like the citrus I taste from the lemon pill. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really, really citrusy.
Yeah, I really like the citrus with it.
Yeah, this is a really, really great cocktail if you want to try it. I know we keep reiterating that, but if you just kind of want to break out of your comfort zone and you've never had a Vesper, again, really, really crisp, refreshing, especially in these summer months that are coming. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you did an awesome job.
Well, thank you very much.
So again,
Thank you, Master.
Thanks. So again, guys, just as a reminder, we are going to put a list of ingredients and tools that we used in today's video. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is @TwoFingerPour.
All one word.
If you want to look for us. Please don't forget, if you like us, to subscribe. I think the subscribe button's right there.
Always right there.
Yeah. Also, if you hate us, go ahead and hit that down button, and then we can share our mutual hatred for each other. So thank you guys again for tuning in to Two Finger Pour. If you made it this far in the video, awesome.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.